Hi crafty friends, I'm Adrienne Bosey and welcome to my channel Alice Scraps Wonderland. Today I'm sharing how to use the new Sizzix Seth Apter collection to build up textural layers of cardstock on a mixed media canvas. Seth designed his collection to be versatile and abstract, giving you endless possibilities to make it your own. My Gothic side came out in this project and I really hope you enjoy seeing this inspiration come to life. As always, I'll have all of the essential supplies listed in the description box below. So let's get into this tutorial, plus my tips for cutting these detailed dies. These are the 3 Thinlit sets that I'll be using from this new collection: Twisters, Roundabout, and this larger one called Waffles. When die cutting these detailed dies, you can make your life much easier by using the Sizzix Precision Chrome base plate. I'm starting by cutting the Waffles die from the rose gold brushed metal cardstock. This larger die just barely fits on the chrome base plate, and I didn't quite get it all the way, so I had to cut some of the ends loose here with some scissors. But this collection is designed to be cut up, so no worries here. I do use this whole die together, but I'm not worried about these ends. I'm going to float this die cut over the canvas, so I cut it again from some thick white cardstock to make this die cut more sturdy. Then I cut it from black cardstock, which will become a drop shadow layer. Before I glue those layers together, I want to work on the canvas and cardstock that I'll be turning into distress backgrounds so they have a chance to dry. I use a mix of prize ribbon and Uncharted Mariner Distress Spray stains, Vintage Photo Distress Spritz, and Crooked Broom Distress Mica stain. I spray these directly onto the canvas, starting with a wash of distress stains and mica stain. I move the color around by spraying it with water and tilting the canvas. Then I dry the layer with a heat tool. To get the sides of the canvas colored, I dip the edges in the spray on my glass craft mat. Then I create backgrounds on thick white cardstock by pressing the cardstock into the colors on my glass craft mat. Occasionally I spritz the colors on my craft mat with water or add more color. To get more than just a wash of color on the cardstock, you want to dry between each layer, so I press it into the sprays a few times, then dry, press it into the color again, and dry again, and so on until I'm happy. I also add water droplets as well as drops of the Distress Spritz to both the cardstock and the canvas. I literally could continue this background making process forever as I get into the zone and just enjoy the process, but I have to stop at some point, so when I'm done, I clean up my glass craft mat with water and a microfiber cloth. I've cast this Finnabair bird and gear mold in white resin. Goth Adrienne chose black gesso to prime and paint the mold with. To match the verdigris look of the cardstock and canvas backgrounds, I use Finnabair waxes to create the same look on the mold. I start by applying metallic, rich copper to the highlights on the entire mold. Then I add some matte waxes in patina green and sage leaves. I dab these two colors on here and there, ensuring that I'm not covering up all of the copper. To pull in some of that blue color from the backgrounds, I add some of the metallic cobalt wax for the final color of verdigris. You know it's a good crafty day when your fingers are stained with distress and waxes. Now that the messy bits are done, I move on to gluing the layers of the Waffles die together. I'm using Sizzix Express glue, but you can also cut these dies with double-sided adhesive on the back of the cardstock. The reason I chose liquid glue is that I want to line the metallic and white cardstocks up perfectly, and liquid glue gives you a little wiggle time to get it just right. Because this die cut is so large, I do the liquid glue in parts so the glue doesn't dry before pressing the layers together. Then I do the same with the black, except I offset it a bit to create a drop shadow. Once it's glued together, I cut off any pieces where the white is hanging out further than the metallic cardstock. To float it on the canvas, I use 1/8 inch wide foam adhesive, placing pieces of it all over the back of the Waffles die cut. Before sticking it to the canvas, I want to add some textiles to this project. I've picked out a couple of embroidery floss colors, and I wrap 3 strands of each of a dusty blue and a bright blue around some corners of the Waffles die cut. I use express glue to glue the ends of floss in place. Using a tapestry needle can help you direct the floss through the holes in this die cut easier. Once I've added a bit of floss, I take the backing off all of the pieces of foam adhesive. To ensure it sticks to the canvas covered in distress sprays, I add a bit of hot glue to the back of some of the foam and press this piece onto the canvas. The cardstock distress backgrounds are dry, and I use these along with some of the black cardstock to cut the layers of the twisters, thinlits, and the diamond shape from the Roundabout Thinlits set. I use the chrome base plate for these as well, even for the less detailed dies, as I use such a thick cardstock. I decided to use some negatives from a few of the dies and cut some of the ones I cut from plain black from one of the distressed backgrounds to get some pretty negatives. Then I glue the layers together with express glue, adding the negatives inside some of the cuts. I want to add floss stitching to these die cuts, so I pull out a foam craft mat and an awl and poke some holes in these cuts. I use a tapestry needle and stitch some coppery brown floss through the holes. Again, I use 3 strands of floss for this. I use some washi tape to hold the ends of the floss in place since you won't see the backs of these cuts. Now that all the pieces have been prepared, it's time to add everything to the canvas. I pulled out some Prima flowers from their Nature Academia and A Mermaid's Tale collections. I've also die cut some florals from the same black cardstock to tuck into this project as well. I use hot glue to attach everything to this canvas. The flowers get the greens ripped off the backs and then glued directly to the background. I add a few nests of metallic copper thread under some of the flowers. One of the twister's circles gets a bit of foam adhesive to pop it up a bit from the background, while the diamonds get glued directly to the background. Once the base layer of larger flowers is in place, I hot glue the larger twister's circle on top of the flowers. I add some of the black florals to the back of a small blue flower and then glue it to the large twister's circle. To keep the resin bird level, I add several layers of black foam adhesive to the back of it and then use hot glue to adhere it to the canvas. And finally, I tuck in the smallest of the twister circles and this project is done. I hope you enjoyed seeing how you can create layers of abstract cardstock die cuts combined with paper flowers to create a textural and abstract mixed media canvas. I can't wait to see what you create with this fun and exciting collection from Sizzix and Seth Apter. And until next time, happy crafting!